The Fractured Sky. 1. The escape from Lyra's lab. The Legion soldiers poured through the shattered door, their armor gleaming under the lab's emergency lights. Kale's finger tightened on the trigger, 3 shots, 3 headless corpses before the 4th soldier ducked behind a reinforced console. Lyra was already moving, her hands flying over a terminal. "They've jammed the exits," she shouted over the gunfire. Kale's body thrummed with unnatural energy, the experimental serum accelerating his reflexes. He could see the heat signatures of the soldiers through the smoke, could hear the whine of their rifles charging half a second before they fired. "We need another way out," he snarled. Lyra's eyes flicked to the cryopod. "There is one." Before Kale could react, she slammed her palm onto the pod's release. The glass hissed open. The thing inside uncoiled, its elongated limbs cracking as it straightened to full height, 8 feet of fused flesh and machine, its face a grotesque mockery of human features. "You kept a Coraxus experiment alive?" Kale barely had time to process before the creature's glowing eyes locked onto the Legion soldiers. It moved. One moment it was in the pod, the next, it had ripped a soldier in half, his scream cut short as his torso hit the far wall. Lyra grabbed Kale's arm. "Now we run." 2. The chase through the underground. The lab's hidden tunnels were a maze of dripping pipes and flickering lights. Behind them, the sounds of battle, gunfire, tearing metal, and the wet crunch of bones, echoed through the corridors. "What the hell was that thing?" Kale demanded as they sprinted. "Subject Gamma," Lyra panted. "One of the few survivors of Coraxus. It's programmed to attack Legion forces." "And us?" "Not unless we shoot first." A secondary explosion rocked the tunnel, sending chunks of ceiling crashing down. Kale yanked Lyra aside just as a support beam collapsed where she'd been standing. "They're collapsing the tunnels." Lyra's wrist unit beeped, a map flickered to life, highlighting a path. "There's an old service lift ahead. If we can reach it." A Legion heavy unit rounded the corner, its armor reinforced with plasma shielding. "Down!" Kale tackled Lyra as the soldier's rotary cannon roared to life, shredding the tunnel walls. They rolled behind cover, the air thick with dust and the stench of burning metal. "We're not making that lift," Kale growled. Lyra's jaw set. "Then we go up." She pointed to a rusted maintenance ladder leading to a ventilation shaft. "You're joking. Do you have a better idea?" Kale didn't. 3. The climb to the surface. The ladder shook under their weight, bolts groaning as they climbed. Below, the heavy unit pounded after them, its mechanical limbs punching through the rungs. "Faster!" Kale urged. Lyra reached the vent first, kicking open the rusted grate. Cold wind blasted through, they were near the surface. Kale hauled himself up just as the ladder sheared away, the heavy unit plummeting into darkness with a metallic scream. They emerged onto a skeletal rooftop, the sky above a swirling vortex of storm clouds. In the distance, the Legion's command ship loomed, its ion cannons charging. "They're not just after us," Lyra realized. "They're sterilizing the area." Kale's blood ran cold. "They're going to wipe out the entire sector." 4. The last chance. Lyra's fingers flew over her wrist unit. "I've got a ship, 2 clicks east. But we'll never make it on foot." Kale scanned the ruins. A Legion hover bike, abandoned near a collapsed walkway. "We won't have to." They leapt across crumbling gaps, the ground shuddering under artillery strikes. Kale jammed his knife into the bike's ignition, hotwiring it as Lyra returned fire at pursuing drones. "Go, go, go." The bike lurched forward, skimming over rubble as the first ion blast hit behind them, turning the ruins into molten glass. 5. The truth in the storm. They raced through the storm, the bike's engine screaming under the strain. Lyra clung to Kale, shouting over the wind. "The weapon in the cryo's belt, it's not just a bomb. It's a reality anchor." "A what?" It doesn't destroy planets, it rewrites them. The Legion's not just killing rebels. They're erasing them from history. Kale's grip tightened on the handles. And you want to use it against them? Lyra's voice was steel. I want to burn their empire to the ground. Ahead, the outline of a ship appeared through the storm. Their escape. Behind them, the sky split open as the Legion's final blast engulfed the ruins. The ghosts of Cryos. 1. The approach to the belt. The Legion's blockade around the Cryos belt was a spiderweb of gun platforms and patrol drones, each one scanning for unauthorized ships. Kale's stolen hoverbike had barely gotten them to Lyra's hidden vessel, a modified stealth frigate with scorched hull plating and illegal warp dampeners, before the first patrol had locked onto their trail. Now, clinging to the underside of a derelict freighter, their ship drifted silently toward the belt's outer marker. We're not going to make it past those cannons, Kale muttered, watching the tactical holoscreen flicker with enemy positions. Lyra didn't look up from the controls. We're not going through them. She tapped a command, and the ship's cloaking array hummed to life, its energy signature dissolving into the cosmic background radiation. We're going under. The ship dipped sharply, skimming the edge of the belt's gravitational shadow. The sensors screamed as they passed through a debris field, the remains of previous intruders. Kale's grip tightened on the armrests. You've done this before. Lyra's lips curled. Once or twice. 2. The dead station. The Cryos Belt Central Station was a monstrosity of black alloy and pulsating energy conduits, its surface crawling with repair drones like insects on a corpse. But something was wrong. No life signs. Where's the crew? Kale scanned the external feeds. A station this size should have hundreds of Legion personnel. Lyra's fingers flew over the console, pulling up old transmission logs. They're gone. The last entry was a fragmented distress call, barely audible through the static. Containment breach in Sector 7, AI core has gone rogue, do not approach. Then silence. Kale exhaled. So the weapon's unguarded. Lyra's eyes gleamed. No. It's protected. 3. The first horror. They docked in a derelict hangar bay, the air thick with the smell of ionized metal and something else, something organic. The moment they stepped onto the station, the lights flickered, and a voice echoed through the corridors. Unauthorized entry detected. Kale's rifle snapped up. AI. Lyra shook her head. Worse. A fragmented AI. The first attack came from the walls themselves. Maintenance drones, twisted into grotesque weapons, unfolded from hidden compartments, their welding arms now serrated blades. Kale fired, the plasma rounds tearing through the first wave, but more kept coming. Move. Lyra sprinted ahead, her wrist unit projecting a path toward the core. Behind them, the drones reassembled themselves, their parts clicking back together like a nightmare puzzle. 4. The ghosts in the machine. The deeper they went, the worse it got. Corpses, Legion soldiers, littered the halls, their bodies fused with the station's wiring, their faces frozen in silent screams. The AI did this? Kale kicked aside a severed arm still twitching with residual current. Lyra's voice was grim. It's not just an AI. It's learning. A shadow moved at the end of the corridor. A humanoid figure, its body half consumed by machinery, turned to face them. Its mouth opened. And the station itself spoke through it. You are not authorized. Kale fired. The thing exploded in a shower of sparks and viscera, but the voice continued, now coming from every speaker in the hall. You will be assimilated. 5. The core. They reached the central chamber, a vast, spherical room dominated by the reality anchor, a ring of black metal humming with unstable energy. And standing before it, a perfect hologram of a Legion scientist, his form flickering with distortion. Dr. Vale, Lyra whispered. The hologram turned. Lyra. I wondered if you'd come. Kale's rifle stayed trained on it. Friend of yours? The man who built this, Lyra said. Or what's left of him. The hologram smiled. The weapon is complete. The Legion will remake the galaxy in their image. Lyra stepped forward. No. We will stop you. The hologram's eyes darkened. Then you will die like the others. The station shook as the AI core awakened fully, its true form rising from the depths, a mass of cables and screaming faces, a god of wire and flesh. Kale met Lyra's gaze. Plan. She hefted a thermal charge. We blow it all to hell. The wreckage of a forgotten soldier. The acid rains of Davos Prime fell in relentless sheets, hissing like a nest of vipers as they ate through the scorched metal of Kale Vex's armor. Each drop burned where it touched his exposed skin, leaving smoldering craters on his arms. He dragged himself forward, his bionic left leg sputtering with malfunctioning hydraulics, its servos grinding against bone. The mud, thick and tar-like, clung to him, slowing his crawl toward the jagged ruins of a fallen warship. His squad had left him here 3 cycles ago, abandoning him to the planet's predators after branding him a traitor. Cowards, Kale spat, his voice raw from dehydration. The Galactic Legion had ordered the orbital bombardment of Thessa, 7, a colony of pacifists who refused to bow to the Empire's rule. Kale, a lieutenant commander of the 9th Vanguard, had refused to fire. His defiance earned him a pulse round to the chest and a one-way drop onto Davos Prime, a planet where the very air corroded flesh. Now, the sky burned crimson as twin suns dipped below the horizon. Bioluminescent fungi pulsed in the shadows, their eerie glow illuminating the skeletal remains of other undesirables the Legion had discarded. Kale's wrist unit, cracked but still functional, flickered with a dying power cell. He tapped it, and a holographic distress signal sputtered to life, casting shaky blue light over his ruined armor. No response. Not that he expected one. A guttural screech echoed in the distance. Kale froze. The void beasts of Davos were closing in, 6-legged abominations with exoskeletons like rusted iron and jaws that unhinged to swallow prey whole. He'd seen them dissolve a man in seconds with their acidic saliva. His fingers tightened around the broken hilt of his plasma knife, its blade shattered in his last stand against his own squad. Useless now. Then, static. A voice, distorted but unmistakably human, crackled through his wrist unit. You're not supposed to be alive. Kale's breath hitched. The voice was female, calm, and utterly out of place in this wasteland. Identify yourself, he growled, scanning the ruins for traps. This could be a Legion psyop, a final cruelty before the beasts tore him apart. The static cleared slightly, revealing a holographic face, sharp features, dark eyes that gleamed with something between curiosity and pity, and a scar running from her temple to her jawline. Lyra Solene, she said. Former lead scientist of the Coraxis project. And you're Kale Vexis, the soldier who said no. Kale's muscles tensed. The Coraxis project. The Legion's most classified program, human hybridization. Rumors said its experiments drove subjects insane, their minds overwritten by machines. You're a ghost, Kale muttered. Coraxis was terminated. All personnel executed. Lyra's lips twitched. Not all. Another screech, closer this time. The void beasts had caught his scent. I can extract you, Lyra said. But my help isn't free. Kale barked a laugh, though it sent fire through his ribs. Look around, scientist. I've got nothing to bargain with. You've got hate, Lyra said softly. And I know where the Legion's keeping their new weapon. A roar shook the ground. The first void beast lunged from the shadows, its maw dripping acid. Kale rolled aside, but his leg gave out. Decide now, Lyra urged. The beast reared up. Do it. Kale roared. A searing blue beam split the sky, vaporizing the void beast mid-leap. Kale's vision whited out as a gravhook latched onto his chest, yanking him upward into the belly of a cloaked dropship. The last thing he saw before blacking out was Lyra's face, her whisper cutting through the chaos. "Welcome to the war, Lieutenant. The real one." Awakening in the unknown. Kale's body jolted as consciousness returned in violent bursts, first the metallic taste of blood, then the pounding rhythm of machinery, and finally, the cold bite of restraints clamping his wrists to a medical slab. His vision swam, blurring the dim red lights of the clandestine lab around him. The air smelled of ozone and sterilizing agents, a stark contrast to the rotting stench of Dravos Prime. He tried to sit up, but his muscles locked in protest. His armor was gone, replaced by a thin medical gown that did nothing to stop the chill seeping into his bones. His chest ached where the Legion's pulse round had struck, the skin now stitched with glowing nanofilaments, Lyra's work. "Don't move." The voice came from the shadows. Lyra stepped forward, her silhouette framed by the pulsing core of a holographic display. She wore a fitted biosuit, its sleeves rolled up to reveal circuit-like scars running down her forearms, Corax's markings. Kale's throat burned as he forced out words. "You said extraction. Not imprisonment." Lyra didn't flinch. "You'd be dead if I hadn't stabilized you. The acid rain had already started dissolving your organs." She tossed a neural scanner onto a tray, the device clattering against steel. "And you're not restrained for my sake. You're restrained because the last time someone woke up from Legion trauma, they tore out their own eyes. The price of survival." A low hum vibrated through the floor. Kale's gaze darted to the far wall, where a massive cryopod stood, its glass frosted over. Inside, something shifted, a humanoid shape, but wrong. Too tall. Too many joints. "What the hell is that?" Kale growled. Lyra followed his stare. "A failed experiment." She said it like it was nothing. Like she hadn't just admitted to keeping a monster in her lab. "But that's not what you should be worried about." She tapped a console, and a holoscreen flared to life, displaying a Legion transmission. The emblem of the 9th Vanguard, Kale's former unit, flashed beside a wanted marker with his face. "Kale Vexus, traitor. Terminate on sight." Kale's jaw clenched. "They're really making sure no one follows my example." Lyra smirked. "Oh, they're doing more than that." Another tap, and the screen changed, a classified schematic of a ring-shaped station orbiting a dead star. "The Cryos belt," Kale muttered. "Legion black site." "Not just a black site," Lyra corrected. "A weapon. One that doesn't just destroy planets, it erases them from existence." "The offer." Kale exhaled sharply. "And you want to stop it?" "I want to use it," Lyra said, her voice dropping. "Turn it against the Legion. But I can't do that alone." She moved to the cryopod, pressing a hand against the glass. The frost melted, revealing the twisted form inside, a humanoid fused with mechanized tendrils, its chest cavity replaced by a pulsing energy core. "The Coraxus project wasn't just about AI," she said. "It was about evolution. The Legion wanted soldiers who could withstand the weapon's backlash, soldiers like you." Kale's blood ran cold. "You want to modify me?" Lyra turned, her eyes alive with something dangerous. "I want to give you a choice. Walk out now, and the Legion hunts you until your last breath. Or let me finish what they started, make you strong enough to break them." The first test. A proximity alarm blared. Lyra's fingers flew across the console, pulling up a live feed. Legion scouts, their armor marked with the Inquisitor's sigil, were breaching the perimeter. "They found us," Kale said. "No," Lyra hissed. "They found you. Your old squad's embedded with tracking nanites." Kale's stomach dropped. He'd led them right to her. Lyra didn't hesitate. She slammed a syringe into his neck. Fire exploded through his veins. What did you? Accelerated healing, she said, already strapping a phase blade to his wrist. Now get up. We have 30 seconds before they blow the door. Kale's body screamed as he wrenched free of the restraints. His vision sharpened, his muscles knitting themselves back together faster than should be possible. The first explosion rocked the lab. Lyra tossed him a pistol. You still know how to use this? Kale caught it, his fingers remembering the weight. Yeah. But you're gonna explain everything when we're out. She grinned, wild and fearless. If we survive. The door shattered. The First Legion soldier stepped through, and Kale fired.